we're entering a period of time where the government is setting a precedent that, in light of any emergency, your personal autonomy, your religious freedom, and honestly your freedom as a whole becomes negotiable, and to whoever's in power or whoever agrees with the people in power.
That's Jonathan Isaac of the Orlando Magic on Fox News at Night last night, explaining his reasoning for taking a stand against the NBA's vaccine mandate. His concern shared by government workers, medical professionals, teachers, and others nationwide now facing the complicated choice to get the jab or lose their job. Let's bring in one lawmaker who's trying to get Congress to take action on this. Republican and Utah Senator Mike Lee. Great to have you back, sir.
Thank you.
So you hope to introduce a number of pieces of legislation. Don't know if they go anywhere in a democratically controlled, essentially, Senate with the tiebreaker held by the vice president. Max Boot over at the Washington Post says this: if mandates are unconstitutional, why is legislation needed to stop them? Won't the courts overturn them?
Yeah, it's a fantastic question, Shannon. And the reason I've done this, the reason I've introduced a dozen bills, and the reason I'm going to the Senate floor every day to try to pass them is because, yes, the president has no authority, and yes, they're therefore unconstitutional. It's going to take so long for this to even make its way into the courts because the president hasn't had the decency to issue an order. There's nothing yet to challenge. It's going to take months, if not years, to get the courts to act. In the meantime, we can try to focus on the more devious parts of this and the more indefensible parts of it by bringing up legislation, including the one I brought up today that says you shouldn't be forced to get the vaccine against your will if your own doctor is telling you you shouldn't get it based on a personal medical condition you have. And yet the Democrats opposed to it. They wouldn't let it fly.
What about this issue of travel? Dr. Leanna Wen, who used to be the head of Planned Parenthood, is a medical professor, is on CNN and other places quite a bit speaking out. She says this a few weeks ago. She said, I think we really need to make it clear there are privileges associated with being an American. Travel and having the right to travel interstate is not a constitutional right, as far as I know, to board a plane. She says, if you want to be unvaccinated, that's your choice, but you shouldn't be able to go out in public or do things like travel on a plane.
Yeah, this is one of the foundational reasons why our country exists. So one of the basic reasons why the Constitution is even there. Our founding fathers wanted to make sure that we didn't have economic balkanization among the states and that people could travel freely from one state to another. So, look, the minute you have a president of the United States who arrogates to himself the power to do this when he doesn't have any, and the minute he then claims this isn't about freedom or personal choice. Look, it's like the guy who robs a bank and thereafter claims that this isn't about the money. This guy's whole job is to protect your freedom. He's going after your freedom. He needs to be held to account for it.
Let me ask you about one of his nominees. This is Sula Omarova. The Washington Examiner says she's advocated for ending banking as we know it. She's now in contention to oversee the country's banks. A recent paper she wrote, she talked about radically reshaping the basic architecture and dynamics of modern finance.
Yeah. Shannon, when I first saw this headline about Omarova's nomination to this position, I literally thought it was a joke. I thought it was something from the Babylon Bee. There's something very meta and very weird about nominating somebody to this position who wants to end banking as we know it and who wants to emulate the Soviet system of monetary policy and banking. Just when I thought things couldn't get stranger in this town, they somehow have. This is a nominee who can't be confirmed. This is a nominee who we're going to fight tooth and nail to avoid confirming, because this is a nominee who doesn't understand economic freedom and wants to destroy our economic system.
Well, this is the system we have. It is capitalism, banking as we understand it. A lot of folks in this country wouldn't want it to be set up for a radical overhaul. We'll see how that fight goes down in the Senate. Senator Mike Lee, thanks for your time always.
Thank you.